Problem number 35 says perform the operation and write the answer in a plus bi form. Remember, you can do this in your calculator. You just have to make sure that you have changed your calculator's mode to a plus bi, which is toggle down to real and go right 1 to a plus bi. So be sure to do that if you're going to use your calculator. If you're not going to use your calculator, this is just a FOIL problem. So I do first, 8 times 5 is 40. Outer 8 times 2i is plus 16i. Inner negative 3i times 5 is minus 15i. And last, negative 3i times positive 2i is minus 6i squared. Remember, I times I is I squared. And now for this you have to remember that I squared stands for negative 1. So this is like saying negative 6 times negative 1, which of course is positive 6. So just remember the rule that an I squared just changes the sign of the number. So I have 40 plus 16i minus 15i is I plus 6. So now combine my like terms. 40 plus 6 is 46 plus I. And there you go. Number 36, instructions say perform the operation and write the answer in a plus bi form again. Again, remember that you can put this in your calculator. Make sure that you're in a plus bi form, and I can be found as the second function of the dot or decimal on the bottom row of your calculator. But I'm going to do it for you here by hand. Remember, having an I in the denominator is the same thing as having a radical in the denominator, which is not allowed because I stands for the square root of negative 1. And anytime you have a radical in the denominator, or in this case an I, you multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. Remember, the conjugate means exactly the same thing. The only thing you changed was the sign. So that's 7 minus 2i. And now I have in both the numerator and the denominator a binomial times a binomial, so that means I need to FOIL those. In the numerator, first 3 times 7 is 21. Outer 3 times negative 2i is minus 6i. Inner negative 4i times 7 is minus 28i. And last, negative 4i times negative 2i is plus 8i squared. Okay, now on that denominator, remember, the whole point of the conjugate is to eliminate the radicals. So if I did O and I, where my single i's are, they would cancel each other out. So anytime you're multiplying by a conjugate, all you need to do from FOIL is the F and the L. 7 times 7 is 49. And then plus 2i times minus 2i is minus 4i squared. If you FOIL the whole thing, that's not a problem. You'll simply see that the two terms in the middle cancel each other out. And I'm just avoiding that here. Okay, so now I combine these two like terms. Minus 6i minus 28i is minus 34i in the center. It starts with a 21. And that I squared changes that sign, so that just becomes minus 8 instead of plus 8i squared over 49 minus 4i squared. In the numerator now, I collect my like terms. 21 minus 8 becomes 13. So I have 13 minus 34i over 4i squared becomes plus 4. 49 plus 4 is 53. And that's your final answer. You can also write that as 13 over 53 minus 34 over 53i. That would also be acceptable, but it's perfectly fine to leave them together like that. There you go.